Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the energies this week with today's Monday's Musings on the 6th of January 2025. It wasn't something that I'd been prepared for, or at least I didn't believe I would be here today, because my home is receiving some upgrades, some much needed physical upgrades that I believed were going to start sooner than I had hoped or thought or even planned. That feels very relevant this week, but what feels more poignant is to understand why something may feel relevant to you. There's a lot of information coming in this week. There's a lot of information always, but it does seem that January, even though we are only 6 days in, there are a lot of epiphanies occurring. Of course, with today, with the Feast of Epiphanies, but always as we lead this year in and through the 9-year, there are going to be many insights that come to light that will either lead and direct us or stray us slightly from the path that we're walking. There is a big difference between guidance and distraction, and I'm finding that myself this morning, tuning in to do the video for this week. There is a lot of potential information coming in that doesn't always feel relevant to share. This week is going to be an opportunity to discern that fine, my screen shaking, that fine edge between where we were and where we would like to go, by keeping very clear to any intentions that we have. Very almost disciplined with any energies that we are working with also, so that we don't get caught up in the vastness of something. It's not that we're not to be aware of the vision, but to also incorporate where we are within that, especially with ourselves. So for me this morning, with everything coming in, it was a wonderful opportunity to pause, to take stock, to acknowledge what I was reading and where I was reading from first. And that started with the cards that I was going to use. I didn't know if I felt connected to them anymore, which was an invitation to look at not the tarot itself, but my own ability to connect to my intuition, and whether or not I felt that had shifted or changed. And it had. I began to wonder whether I needed to light incense or put music on or have a certain energy in my room or do my hair a certain way or put, certain clothes on, or at least change my t-shirt. My t-shirt currently says dark like my soul on, and really feeling into whether or not that felt appropriate for what I believed was expected of me. And that's the key this week. There's a big difference between what is expected of us from outside and from ourselves, and the intentions that we are putting out there. This week is a wonderful opportunity as we lead into the full moon in Cancer to look at any divide we may have between ourselves, our home life, and the facade we may be putting on in regards to our professionalism also. Or not. As always, there is a choice, although I can hear a clearing of throats knowing that part I put in myself. So being aware of what is really deep intuitive guidance and what is our own more human way of interpreting that, to make it more palatable, more able to be received, more gentle, more compassionate. There's no judgment this week in regards to trying to find our own feet, to trying to find a more common ground with what we want to take forward, to being okay with uncertainty, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of old cycles playing themselves out. There's a lot of old, if you want to call them, timelines playing themselves out. What it actually is our awareness is expanding. So these things have always been there, especially for some of us a few years ago when the world started to really change its perspective. These things have always been there in our awareness. It's just that we are taking more time to expand on that. And when we do that, we are going to see different sides of things. That is to empower us. That is to help us make an informed choice, not to distract us. And that is the emphasis this week. So let's bring it back to that. Let's bring it back to the intention. My intention with this video is to share the energies this week. As you can see, I already am physically, but also how to best navigate them, which is going to be individual for everyone. I'm just going to use what is being reflected back through the cards and the signs around me, because that's how I work. Now that's the other thing. Underneath it all, this week, this year, is the potential to figure out not only our intention, but the why behind it. Why is that so important? Because what we're doing is figuring out aspects of ourselves that may have been hidden. One of the things that really stood out to me today as I sat down to the computer was that other than I had to turn off the heating in order to be heard, I had to almost dim down my own comforts in order to be heard. So that energy could come up this week as well. But smack bam in front of me is a picture of a young fledgling, a young bird, breaking free from the shell that it found itself in, calling out for its needs to be met. And there's a skull there and a lot of ravens coming in, a lot of ancestral energy coming in to feed that, but needing to speak. Letting our voice, our communication, things that we may not have heard, be the very epiphany that we are looking for this week. When we think about the Feast of Epiphany, in a lot of traditions, it's about the three magi, the three wise men, the astronomers, the ability to read the maps in front of us, the hermits, if you will, of that era, coming forward. Now, they didn't arrive at the birth of Jesus. They arrived after. So it's not about changes that are being born. It's not about our Christ consciousness actually making itself present. It's about the journey that we walk in order to find that by reading the map in front of us. And that is different for everybody. But underneath it all, that map is all about returning to who we are. So the other thing in front of me is a painting that I did for the Magician tarot card and a dream catcher that I made in the shape of an arrow. This week, the energy's relevance for me and this video is all about speaking up for what you need, breaking out of the shell that you may have placed yourself in, allowing that inner, curious, younger, almost deemed younger energy to voice now, to call out, to be called out, so that magic of our dreams can actually be aimed for with more direction and focus. And that is the other thing. So I've shared that process there. I could have gone straight into the reading. It feels very important to embody our processes. My own process is to see the many different signs and then to come forward with a direction based on the energies. This week, what is your process? How can you embody that rather than avoid it? How can you embody your process? You may find that you are a quote-unquote overthinker. There's medicine in that, in the ability to rationalize things, to make things more logical, to perhaps focus and have more drive. What is it in your process that needs to be brought forward for the light and the gift that it is? Because that is the arrow that's going to take aim for any dreams that you wish to deliver, well, not deliver, they've already occurred, but to walk towards this year in 2025. Excuse me. Is there any more on that? There's a lot more on that. There's a lot more, or at least there's the potential of a lot more backwards pulling. I want to say distraction, but it's a backwards pulling to make sure that we feel strong enough in what it is we're trying to achieve. So when we end up finding ourselves going backwards and reflecting, it is an opportunity to give our drive and ambition a bit more tension, a bit more power. If you're finding this week that that isn't happening for you, you know, you may find certain things coming up, more opportunities which may have been along the same lines as before. Play with them, toy with them, be curious with them, but also be honest. Are they from where you were? Are they from where you are? Are they from where you would like to go? What is the reason they have come back up? What can you hope to gain from this, if anything? Remembering that this is a 9 year, and 9 is about completion. It's not about change. It's about completion. Without completion, there is no change. Without finishing the cycles, there is no shift. So what is coming up? What is being asked to be completed, closed, brought back home, however you want to look at it, in order to take that forward on another level. So let's look into the energies this week and how to best navigate them. Yeah, obviously keeping an eye out for any epiphanies this week. And I'm being drawn to look up the meaning of epiphanies, to put it in the comments, but also to look up the meaning of whatever is occurring for you this week. What is behind it? What is being called out? What is calling you out? What part of you is being called out through the things that you are having your awareness and attention expanded towards? Okay. There is an energy not to try so hard. One of the things when I was wondering about whether these were the right cards to connect to, it really obviously didn't matter. What matters is I'm connecting to my intuition. Everything that comes up this week is an opportunity for us all to do that, to find those answers within, to answer the bigger question of perhaps where and why we may have disconnected from that. You know, the Hermit year, yes, it's about going within. Yes, it's about completion. Yes, it's about the path forward, the darkness, the light, all of it. But it's also about an inner wisdom. Are we connected to that? You know, today thinking about what I should wear. Should I wear this t-shirt that has dark like my soul? Yeah, my soul has some dark patches. And disconnecting to that can actually remove a lot of our wisdom. There is an element of looking at what professionalism actually means to us. Is it what we wear? Is it the persona? I'm going to say persona. I keep hearing facade. Is it the persona that we put across? Or is it our ability to walk what we talk? Different for everybody. But it is an opportunity to really hone in on that. Throughout January, I'm seeing obviously a lot of new year, new me, and that is entirely up to the person. However, there's a lot of closures that need to happen in order for that to occur. Sometimes things didn't work because they didn't work, and bringing them forward in a different shape or form hasn't changed the driving force behind it. So really looking at what is inspiring us with these changes. What is behind them? If we are doing something because we feel unworthy, so like me this morning, if I changed my clothes or done my hair, well, I did do my hair, but if I'd, felt into the pressure of being a certain way, it would have been my lack of worth that was driving this video. Now it's pure uncertainty, curiosity, wonder, awe, and for me, a deeper connection to my own intuition as a result. Okay. Energies this week and how to best navigate them. I can't escape the fact that I'm being drawn to look at the vocal cords of the bird in front of me, and my own throat is actually quite sore and quite dry. It's a beautiful side effect of menopause. But also the recognition of the correlation between the vocal cords, the throat and the cervix, the womb space, the feminine. There's a dryness here, a hoarseness, almost a constant repetition of the same thing. For whose benefit has that been? Who needed to listen to that? It's about what we create. So we can say one thing and create another. And that can actually bring forth a necessary conflict within us. And it's that we're going to feel as we lead into the full moon. I think it's around about the 12th or 13th of January. I know it's in the sign of Cancer. I know it's very much to do with feminine wisdom and intuition. And that drive between success, professionalism, home life, beliefs, values, really focusing on where there may be differences there. When we are behaving a certain way in our professions, and a different way in our relationships, and a different way in our family situations. Much as that does, so I'm a Leo. I have salamanders and chameleon type energy throughout my whole chart. And much as that does give us different perspectives of ourselves, because we are multifaceted. Underneath it all, there is an energy that flows through it all. When that isn't present in all areas of our life, we are going to feel discombobulated. We are going to feel lonely. And that loneliness isn't about being alone. That loneliness is about not connecting to who we are at a soul level. Being aware of that this week. We have the Chariot card at the bottom. Everything that occurs this week is an opportunity to get back on track. It may feel as if it's a bit push me, pull me type energy, but we're January. We're still in winter. We haven't actually gone into spring. You know, there's no judgment there if you want to place new seeds for your future, but really looking at whether or not they are new, and being aware that anything that comes up now is going to highlight which ones you want to take forward. It may feel a bit topsy-turvy, it may feel a bit uncertain. It's an opportunity to really fine-tune and hone into what is certain for you, what gives you roots in your identity and who you are. What is alignment, and how aligned are you in all areas of your life? So I'm not going to shuffle the cards again. That feels quite important that we take the Chariot as the guiding archetype through this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Overall, we do have the Three of Cups this week, and there is obviously in every moment an opportunity to create, but I'm almost diminishing that. Anything that happens this week is a great opportunity to create something different, to birth something different, and we can downplay that energy. And what that does in our solar plexus, we can overlook that energy, we can bypass that energy. We don't always see things for the conception and creation that they can be, especially moments of uncertainty, right? We can get quite bored and frustrated. When we do that, what that does is really disconnect us to our soul power and our soul ability to manifest. And I feel that in the solar plexus, and I feel that in the sacral. What is it that's taking us out of our own natural creative flow this week? There's going to be an opportunity to look into that, because overall the energy is the Three of Cups. It is about bringing parts of ourselves back together, our past, our present, our future, and moving forward with all of these aspects. It starts on the Monday. From the Monday through to the Wednesday, it's very masculine energy. It may not feel like it. It may feel as if it's quite intuitive and earth-driven and homely type energy, but that doesn't mean that it's not masculine. We can get really caught up in this belief that masculine energy is all fire, is all logic, it's all go, go, go. The masculine has to have the ability to hold space for the intuition. You know, when we feel held safely in our actions, that's when we really start to blossom. So most of the time it's when we doubt our ability, we doubt our capability, we doubt our endeavors, that we start to really question our intuition as a result. So if we can really feel firm into everything that we have gained and our intentions, and keep our focus intuitively led, then the masculine, our actions, are actually going to really hold space for us this week. Starting on the Monday, we have the King of Cups. It is about feeling those emotions, recognizing that to feel emotions is an action in itself. It is still the masculine. We get very caught up in separating these identities, but there's a real potential for sacred union of all of that this week. It does mean that the first half of the week we may find separate from the second half of the week, while we initiate what these two energies have in common. What that energy is in common is the Nine of Cups. It's the ability to open our heart to all aspects of ourselves. And that does, as I say, start on the Monday. We go with what we feel. We connect to a deeper flow. It is to do with our perception, but our perception of ourselves, our perception of the bones of what makes us us on the Monday. On the Tuesday, that's going to give us the King of Pentacles, a more solid, grounded masculine energy, a connection. So I want to show you this card, a connection to the wild wisdom within us, all the lessons that we've learned behind us, and the wild wisdom within us. This man isn't fighting the wolf. The moon in January, the full moon in January is the wolf moon, isn't fighting those emotions that are coming up, isn't getting shut off, isn't getting cold to them, but embracing them, sitting beside them, feeling, listening, watching. That's what gives us physical grounding, presence with ourselves, curiosity, maturity. The sacred, mature masculine within us can hold space for whatever is occurring, can allow those feelings to rise to the surface, including the indecisions. Particularly as a woman, particularly in the more spiritual community, it can almost be frowned upon if we have moments of uncertainty. Moments of uncertainty are a void, a gap between what was and what could be. Moments of uncertainty are the blank canvas and the pot of paint. Moments of uncertainty are the moments where we can choose what we want to bring forward. If we're not sure about something, it could be because there's more to be gained with the picture. It could be that some of those aspects are no longer relevant. Moments of uncertainty are our strongest points of reflection and action. They are the point of change. They are the point of transition. They are the point of completion. The beginning of this week is about feeling emotionally into those, flowing with those, and remaining grounded in their wisdom. Because on the Wednesday we have the Seven of Cups, and here we see yet another masculine figure, undecided, almost as if he has to pick between what energy is going to be taken forward here. The irony is they're all part of the same thing. They're all, here we have snakes and ladders, but if we can recognize that actually by concentrating on the individual aspects, we forgot the big vast potential behind us, and in doing so the flow forward. It's one thing to focus, it's another to limit. And it's that we're being asked to feel into this week. Is our focus expanding our vision or constricting our vision? Are we celebrating certainty for the distraction that it can bring? There is a vast difference between certainty and knowing. This week we're going to be given the opportunity to feel into what that is for us all individually. It's going to open us up. We have the Nine of Cups here. It is about, this year really is, with the Moon card, the other side of the Hermit, it really is about stepping into our deeper psychic, emotional awareness, diving to the treasures that can be found in the abyss of the unknown, of the, not darkness, the almost, yeah, the emotional residue that is rising. There is a lot of emotional residue rising, and it is an opportunity come Thursday to really flow into that and allow it to open us up, or open ourselves up to the emotional residue that's rising, because these things are coming to the surface for a reason. Whether you want to call them Kundalini awakenings, whether you want to call them healing or cycles or whatever is occurring for you, it is an opportunity to be opened by your own emotional intuitive wisdom and to find the treasure within that. On the Friday, we do start to have a bit more of a balance in regards to what we give out and what we receive, because we have the Six of Pentacles. Again here, lots of information coming in. The hands can't hold all of that. The body can't hold all of that. The body can't hold all of this separate wisdom. I learned this, I experienced this, I'm this person, I'm that person. It starts to feel very discombobulated. Okay, so really concentrating on the two main energies this week: what we give, what we receive, our actions and the intuition as a result. Flow, the expansion, the contraction, the movement in, the movement out. Really focusing on that this week, allowing the process to come through us and be released and received and released. Connecting to a wisdom beyond the glimmers, beyond the physical actions, beyond the they said this, I did this, connecting beyond all of that, purely and simply to how our body feels with what we are given, how our body feels with what we give out. On the Saturday, we have the Four of Cups, and it can almost feel as if we've done all of these things. We've, what happens when we go over everything that we have experienced, when we reflect over everything and there's nothing there to be gained anymore? What happens in those moments of uncertainty? We realise that actually maybe we want something else. Maybe now is a time to bring in something different. That can be quite daunting. And we can almost put that off and focus on what we did have. We can almost focus on what did bring us joy. And sometimes that can really help. Gratitude can really help. Sometimes toxic gratitude can really be a distraction to bypass, overcompensate the frustration of yearning for more. The frustration of needing, I'm being drawn again to look at the bird in front of me, the young bird in front of me, of calling out for what we need to be nourished and sustained in our own growth, our own evolution. Now, that doesn't mean that where we are isn't good enough. If anything, that could be the very thing that we're looking for, just being with where we are and allowing those parts of ourselves to integrate. It could be that actually where we find ourselves now needs to expand. Our own awareness needs to expand, particularly our own emotional awareness come the weekend. On the Sunday, provided we can feel into that, we have the Hanged Man. There is an opportunity there to see things from a different perspective. It may feel as if things have been turned upside down, including the perception we have of ourselves. Okay, this is what I thought I always wanted. This is what I thought I was here to do. This is who I thought I was. Really just allowing that to come to the surface as we prepare to lead into the full moon. Things are going to come to light the whole year, and they are going to start from today. Well, they're always ongoing, right? But we may get an epiphany on the Monday, on the 6th of January, that leads us into the weekend, making us think, what the fuck? I'm not sure now. It's a great opportunity to let go, to be curious, to open our hearts, to allow things to unfold as they need to. Particularly in our dreams. Don't forget our dreams. I don't know about anyone else, but mine definitely have been all over the place the last few weeks. I'm being drawn again to look at the Chariot energy, the energy that's underneath it all. It may feel topsy and turvy. It may feel as if we're being dragged this way, dragged that way, torn even. It's all a chance to figure out the path that we're on, to not even figure it out, but to ensure that we are still on it, not in our actions as such, but in our own perception of ourselves and where we may be going with that. Remember, the path that you're on is you. It doesn't matter whether you relate it to a job or a relationship or a spiritual pursuit. The path that you're on is about discovering you. So if you feel this week that you're not learning anything different about yourself, okay, what are you going to do with that? What would you like to discover? What is behind your intentions? So overall, we have two major arcanas, the Chariot. Oh, we do have the Star card actually, and I do want to bring that in. I do want to, and the Empress underneath. Okay, so the Star and the Empress card underneath the Chariot, just really confirming, and that's what a lot of this energy is this week, confirming what we already know, confirming our own interpretation of something, not for anyone else, but for ourselves, so that we can regain that focus, that vision, that belief in who we are and why we're here and what we're being asked to create as a result. Our own connection here on the earth and our own ability to manifest, to conceive ideas, to create ideas. And by manifestation, we can get really, really, really caught up in the really expansive things, and that's not to say that they're not beautiful and wonderful, but we create dinner, and I can't stress this enough. We create breath, we create emotions, we create relationships. If you're finding by the end of the weekend that there isn't enough connection or enough fulfillment in your life, Okay, where perhaps are you lacking that connection to yourself and what it is you're creating? What parts of yourself have you maybe pushed to one side that want to come back now and be incorporated into everything that you're doing? So we have the Chariot, the Star and the Empress, but we also have the Hanged Man here. There's a wonderful opportunity to see the many backwards forwards motions, the uncertainty, the distance even from what we're trying to figure out and where we are, as a wonderful journey, as a wonderful opportunity to reconnect to the wisdom within us and our place here on the earth. Obviously, it's all in the perspective, and that is the key, because we have a lot of masculine and feminine energy here this week, and the card that unites them both is the Six of Pentacles. So it's one thing to see, it's another to do, and then to see what we're doing and where we're doing it from is a whole other level. And it's that that's coming forward this week. These uncertainties, where are they really? Are they in what we do? Are they in the people that we spend our time with? Are they in any wounds we may believe we have? I need to get to the point. Or are the uncertainties in who we are? Beautiful opportunity to open to that with compassion, with tenderness, with curiosity, with fun. To wake up and know that we don't know everything about ourselves is actually a gift. To wake up and know that there is more to discover and more to learn and more to experience and more to live in this life is a gift. That doesn't mean that we're not good enough. That just means that we are expansive, that we are abundant, that we are limitless in how open we choose to be with this life. Of course, that can be daunting. Of course, that can be daunting. My question would be, what is the alternative? What is the alternative to live a limited life, a constricted life, a life where we do not want to experience anymore? It's, again, an individual thing. However, with the masculine and feminine this week, it is our ability to flow and be grounded and present with our emotional awareness that is going to lead to indecisions because there's a lot that's rising to the surface in many different forms to basically suggest that we may want to expand. We may want to expand ourselves. We may want to expand the connections we have. We may want to expand the depth that we have to our own intuition. We may want to experience life more. When we're really grounded in that, when we can hold space for that, when we can open to that, when we can be present with any frustrations that we may be feeling, no matter how it may be portrayed, how it may be disguised, we're going to see different perspectives of ourselves. And from there, we make a choice. We make an informed choice based on how we see who we are. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 cup cards. 5 cup cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cup cards. The turning point, if you will, the halfway mark, when we feel as if we're getting stuck almost, is to feel into our emotions, to feel into that psychic wisdom. It is our own spirituality. Our emotional well-being, our emotional intelligence is the very connection to all of the elements of ourself and our environment. When we can do that this week, that's where the greatest changes will come in our actions, as they will flow more. In times of indecision, if we open up to the frustration that we feel, the answers are there. It's doing so with perhaps less judgment or compassion for any judgments we may feel. I'm a classic. If I think, oh, I want something, oh gosh, this barrage of voices that tells me that it should be enough and I'm ungrateful and I'm greedy and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Really looking at any conversations you may have with yourself if you feel uncertain. A classic of tarot reader that doesn't quite know what steps to next take. In society, that's a very negative aspect. They kind of don't align, or what we believe they don't align, but actually feeling into the discernment that is needed with what you are experiencing and recognizing it is actually part of this path for you. It is part of your experiences and part of your awareness. Not pushing that to one side, allowing the frustration, allowing the indecisions, allowing the uncertainty to come forward. Because the truth of the matter is, if you were really that certain, they wouldn't be there. So why are you uncertain? What is it that you're uncertain about? Really, really, really. Then have two pentacles. Okay, I'm being drawn to the fact that I need to point out that there are no wand cards and there are no sword cards this week. So it's not about the mindset and it's not about our drive and ambition. It may feel like that, but that energy actually isn't relevant this week. It's not there. That I was going to say it's lacking, but it isn't. It's not there for a reason. Okay, this week is an opportunity to focus on our emotions and the impact that they have on our physical actions, because they are the drive. They are our mentality. In being aware of the intuitive wisdom within us, we are connecting beyond our logical mind. We are still taking that, but connecting beyond our logical mind. In being aware of our spiritual energy, that creative force, we are connecting to those wand-like energies, that drive and that ambition. So it's beyond that now. It is about our emotions and the effect that that has on our physical choices and actions, and how we see the decisions that we've made and the decisions that we believe we need to make. We have the Six of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, two cards. There's a union here in regards to what we give out and what we receive, an honesty needed, an authenticity needed, an alignment needed. We can want something, okay, we can have this intention, but is the energy that's behind it equivalent? Is it going to support that? Is it going to match that? Are we driven enough physically to get what it is we're trying to achieve? Are we open enough to receive it? This week, really looking into our masculine physical body. Is it ready? And if not, what do we need to put in place to make it ready? There's a few options that I have coming up over the next few weeks and months of potentially sharing my work again. Nothing will be done until February 1 because that's my season, that's my winter. Also physically, my home and myself are not ready. Doesn't matter how frustrated I am with that. Doesn't matter how much I want to kick and scream and make it so. That's the truth. And this week we are going to be shown where we are not physically ready, so that we can, from a mature, actioned, focused drive, put those things into place and take care of the very vessel that is going to bring forth the changes that we seek, which is our body. We then have the Hanged Man that is left as the energy. Patience, perseverance, recognizing they are one and the same. We can often get caught up in actions and believing they are the only way forward. Sometimes waiting for things to come into play, to slot themselves into place, to integrate, to be re-established and reconnected is the most powerful action that we can take. I'm being reminded of the analogy as a midwife. If you constantly get somebody to push without contractions and the damage and the trauma that can take, making the most of the gaps in between. And I do appreciate they can be frustrating. I do, I get it. So what do you need in those moments of frustration? What is it that's frustrating you? Where is that coming from? I can only speak for myself, but I know when I get frustrated, it's because I start to lose faith in the fact that something is going to happen. So what do you need to help you with the frustration? What is the uncertainty really telling you? I'm going to leave it there. Have a wonderful week. I hope to see you next Monday. I am, however, going to be in the process of having my home upgraded. So we shall see. Take care, and I shall see you when I see you.